I recently uploaded a dataset to Hugging Face. In this video, I wanted to quickly go over that dataset. The dataset includes tax court opinions from 1996 to 2025. This screen is a Jupyter notebook that we're going to use to analyze the dataset. But first, we want to download the dataset. If we go to Hugging Face, type in Andrew-Mitchell, and here's the dataset, tax court opinions. So we're going to go to Files and Versions, and then we're going to go to the Parquet file, which is a lot like a CSV file that you can open in Excel, and we're going to download that file. So here we're downloading it. We're going to go back to the Jupyter notebook, and we're going to import pandas as PD. That's just pandas is the program that's usually used or often used for analyzing data that's like a table, like an Excel table. So here I'm just going to paste in some code. And so this is going to read in the file that we just downloaded, and we're going to call it DF, which stands for data frame. And a data frame is just, again, it's just like a CSV file in a table or an Excel file. So we're going to go ahead and execute this, this box here, and now we've got the DF. So let's just see what columns the DF has. So it's got file name, year, month, day, opinion type, opinion name, number of pages, docket number, judge name, and then the text of the opinion itself. And we aren't going to work with all of these, so just to make it a little bit easier, we're going to delete some of these columns, and we're going to rename some of them to be a little bit shorter. So I'm just going to paste in the code that drops or deletes some of the columns and renames some of the columns as well, just to make them a little bit simpler. So if we do that, and then we just take a look at the table, if we do df.head, that looks at the first 5 rows of the table. And so here we've got rows 0 through 4, and the year column, the type column, the pages column, the document number, the judge, and then the text of the opinion itself. So, and the text of the opinion is abbreviated because it's actually very long. So let's take a look at how many rows we've got or how much data is in each of these columns. So if we just do df counts or count, and then we execute that, we see that each column has 14,000 or almost 15,000 items in each column. So in the type column, we've got reported and memo. Let's take a look to see how many reported items are, how many memo items there are, etc. So if we do df type value counts, then it shows us we have 8,900 memo opinions, 2,800 summary opinions, 1,800 bench opinions, and 1,200 reported opinions. So let's see what how many opinions we have for each year. So we're going to group by the year. So group by, and then year, and then we're going to do the size, which is the number. So here we can see that there's just a couple of opinions for these earlier years, and even 1995 is not a full year's worth of opinions. So 1996 is when the opinions really are fully included. And then 2026, there's only 50 opinions so far in 2026. But let's get rid of the years that are incomplete. So we'll get rid of the years before 1996, and we'll get rid of the 2026 year as well. To do that, I'm just going to paste in some code here. So all it is just convert it. Right now, the year column is a string, and we're going to convert it to an integer, so the as type integer. And then we're going to only include the year after 1995 and the year before 2026. And if we do that, and then we just look at the last 5 rows instead of the first 5 rows, just so that we can see what it looks like. So here we've got now, so we're at like 14,000, row 14,700, and these are the year 2025, and we've got the same columns, but we've just got, we're excluding the few years. So now let's look at the years again, but plotting them. So before we grouped by year up here. So we're going to take that and we're going to paste it here and then just do plot and then kind equals bar. And then we'll run that and we've got a plot here. And we can see that the tax court opinions have declined quite a bit over the last 10 or so years. So we used to have roughly 500 opinions per year, and now we've got roughly 200 a year. So now let's take a look at the average number of pages by opinion type. So again, I'm just going to paste in the code. So we're going to group by the type of opinion, and then we're going to calculate the average number of pages for each of those types. So the bench opinions are 10 pages long, roughly. Memo opinions are 19 pages. Reported opinions are 31 pages on average. And summary opinions are 11 pages on average. So that makes sense. The reported opinions tend to be the most complicated ones, and the bench opinions tend to be the least complicated. So the longest opinions are the reported ones, and the shortest ones are the bench opinions. So now let's look at the types of opinions by year. So if we paste in, we're grouping by year, and then we're also grouping by type, and we're getting the number of each type for each year. And then without this unstack, the pandas does this multi-layered indexing, and I don't like that. I want it to show up as a table, so we unstack it and it just keeps it as a table. So we'll look at that. So now we can see the year, the bench. There were no bench opinions until 2008, and there were no summary opinions until 2001. So those just show NAM, not a number. And so those are, you can see that there were 558 memo opinions back in 1996 and only 46 reported opinions. And then, as we mentioned, by the time we get down to 2025, there's only 134 memo opinions, 23 reported opinions, 24, what was that, bench opinions, and 10 summary opinions. So once the bench opinions started coming out, there were quite a few of them, 156, 168, 173. So there were quite a few bench opinions that came out, as well as summary opinions too. So let's see which judges have the most opinions in this data set. So we're going to do DF judge. So we're getting the judge column, and we're getting value counts, which will count the number for each judge. And we're just going to get the number of opinions for each judge. And then we're just going to get the head of 15, so just the top 15. And then we're going to plot it as a bar chart. So if we do that, we can see that Colvin is the most prolific opinion writer, and then Vasquez, and then Goki. So let's just dive into Colvin a little bit more to see what Colvin's opinions look like. So I'm going to paste in some text here. So this text gets us the Colvin opinions. It takes the original data. So this is a new data frame. It takes the original data frame with the judge column where it equals Colvin. And this new data frame with just the Colvin opinions, we're going to group it by year and then see how many there are Colvin opinions per year. So if we look at this, we can see that for 2008, 2009, and 2010, Colvin did a lot of opinions. And that's, if I actually recall, those look very similar to the numbers up here for the bench opinions that started in 2008, 9, and 10. 156 versus 157. So let's see what kind of opinions Colvin published in, say, 2010. So I'm just going to paste in some new code here. We're creating another data frame of just the Colvin opinions and just for 2010. So we're just Colvin when the year is 2010. And then we're going to look at the Colvin 2010, the type of opinion, so the types of opinions. And we're going to get the count of the types of opinions that Colvin published. And it appears that Colvin only published bench opinions in 2010, 172 of them. And if we recall, there were 173 bench opinions in 2020, 2010. So it seems like Colvin published all of the opinions in 2010. That all of the bench opinions, at least. And that doesn't make any sense. Let's go over and look at the tax court website for a second. So if we go to tax court, U.S. tax court, and then go to opinions, search orders and opinions, and then go to opinion, and then we type in Colvin, and let's just do 01/01/2010 to, let's go with 01/31/2010, and we'll search. And so here's all of the Colvin opinions. See the judge's Colvin pages. They're all bench opinions. And so let's just click on one of them. And so here we've got this, and this is signed by Judge Gustafsson, not Colvin. So the tax court, so again, this is bench opinion by Judge David Gustafsson. It's not Colvin. So the Colvin numbers are not actually accurate for those years. So let's just ignore Colvin for a minute. And who was the next most prolific? Vasquez was the next most prolific. So let's take a look at Vasquez. So if we just paste in some code here, again, we're starting to create a new Vasquez data frame, which is based on the original one where the judge equals Vasquez. And then we're going to group all the Vasquez opinions by year and see how many there are per year. So now Vasquez has a much more steady stream of opinions, and it looks like he sort of semi-retired in about 2020. So Vasquez actually makes a lot more sense. And let's look at the types of opinions published by Vasquez as well. So if we paste in Vasquez type value counts, so that'll count the types of opinions that he's published. And so he published 578 memo, 50 summary, 33 reported, and 12 bench. Now that makes a lot more sense than Colvin. And now I want to calculate the number of years between the date the petition was filed and the date the opinion was published. So we're going to calculate the years between the petition and the publication. So a sample docket number looks like this right here. And so the year is built into that. This here, this 23 without the L, is the year. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this is as a string, and we're going to split it by the hyphen. And then we're going to take the second value, which is going to be the 23L, but we only want the 23, not the L. So we're just going to end up taking the first two values of that second item. So let's just paste in some code for that. So what we're doing is we're creating a new column in the original data frame called doc year. That's the docket year. And then that's from the original data frame, the docket number, and we're using a string type function to split. We're splitting based on the value, and we're using a string function again to take the second. We use 0 indexing, so 1 means the second value. And then we're doing a string again, and we're slicing just to get the first 2 values. And then we're going to convert that string into an integer. So as type int, we convert it to an int. So when we do that, we want to look at the values. So we've just created this new column called df doc year, and we're going to look at the head values of that. And so there they are. That's the first 5 values, which is 2 numbers. But we really want it to be 4 numbers. So we have to convert it from 92 to 1992. And similarly, if it's 2000, it's just going to be 2 digits. So 2002 would just be 02. But for those, we need to add 2000 to the number. So we're going to paste in some code that adds 1900 to the 1900 ones and adds 2000 to the 2000 ones. So this code just takes the docket year column, starts with the original docket year column, and then applies a function called a lambda function, and it adds 2000 if the year is less than 30, because that would be 2000 to 2026. Otherwise, it's going to add 1900 for the earlier ones. And then we'll just take a look at the numbers after we've done that. So now we've got the 1900s, and then we can also look at the tail as well, just to see what the tail looks like. Tail is the last 5 rows. So we've got the 2023 is appropriate there as well. So we're getting close to the end here, and we're just going to paste in this code here. So we're calculating the delay between the petition and publish. So we're creating a new delay column based on the original publish year column and then the docket year column. And then we're going to plot that delay column by year as a bar chart. So what this is showing is the delay between the date of the petition and the date the actual opinion came out. And you can see for most of the years from up until about 2015, the tax court was just over between 2 and 2.5 years. It was publishing on average, an opinion 2.5 years after the petition was entered. But since 2016 and beyond, it's gotten worse, and the tax court is getting behind, and now it's almost up to 4 years between the date of petition and the date of the opinion being published. So the tax court is behind. So now just one more thing I just wanted to just include about the text, just so you can see the text column a little bit. So first, we'll just view the first 1,000 characters of the last opinion, the most recent opinion. So this iloc is just to look up the -1, which is the most recent opinion, and we're going to get the text column, and then we are getting the first 1,000 characters. So this is just the first 1,000 characters of the most recent opinion in the data set. And what we can do is search the text if we want. So if we paste in some code here, we're going to find all opinions that include Aerosmith. So we're creating a new data frame that's based on the original data frame, the text column. We're applying a string function. The string function is, does it contain the text Aerosmith? And then we're going to look at the hits, the first top 10. And we see we've got only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 different hits. And so what we can do is, if we want to find the actual opinion on the tax court website, we can take this docket number, copy that, and if we just go over to the tax court website again, paste in the docket number, search, and we come up with that opinion. So here it is. So if we search for Aerosmith, there is the Aerosmith reference in that case. And that's all I wanted to do for this video. I was just introducing this tax court opinion data set that's out on Hugging Face if anyone wants to play with it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.